Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Welcome to second online class of English. All of you must be attentive and books should be opened in front of you. The exercises which we will discuss today are Moodle verbs page 31-32, regular irregular verbs page 32, transitive intransitive verbs page 32. Starting with Moodle verbs. Moodle verbs are auxiliary verbs, also called helping verbs, like can, will, could, shall, must, would, might, and should. Important point is that after a Moodle verb, the root form of a verb is generally used. Root form means the first form of verb or the base form of verb. And second point is that the word to should not appear after a Moodle verb. An exception is the phrase ought to, which is considered a Moodle verb. The phrase ought to as a whole is considered as a Moodle verb. So that is why it is an exception. Otherwise, if you will put to after a Moodle verb, it will be considered wrong. You can see on your screens the Moodle verbs, that how they are used. The first one is can. We can use this Moodle verb for ability, for permission, for probability. What is probability? Probability means possibility. Like ability, I can speak Spanish. It is the ability. I'm using this Moodle verb like it is my ability. I'm able to speak Spanish. So I can speak Spanish. For permission, can I go to the bathroom? Probability, possibility. It can't be Mark. He is in London. Second one is could. Could is used for past ability, past permission, probability, 40%, request. What does it mean that probability 40% means that if you are saying about something and you're 40% sure about that thing, or you have the idea about that thing up to 40% that it can be happen, but you're not 100% sure. So the possibility of that thing is up to 40%. So then you use the Moodle verb could. Just like he could swim when he was 6 years old. This was past ability. Past permission, he could go to the theater. Probability 40%. It could get much hotter in July. Request, I could lend you my notebook. Next is may. Probability. This shows the possibility of something up to 50%. And we use may for permissions. It may snow tomorrow. May I come in? Next is might. Probability. It shows the possibility of something up to 35%. Again, when you have little idea about something that it might happen, so you're not too much sure about that thing. It might rain today. Must. Must is used for prohibition and 100% possibility. When you're 100% sure. Prohibition means banned, mana karna, not allowed. Like you must not speak loudly here. And 100% probability, it shows like it's quite dark. It must be after 8 o'clock. Should. Should is a Moodle verb which is used for advice. You should not smoke. It is unhealthy. Will. Will is Moodle verb which is used for prediction. While you are predicting something, and also it is used for spontaneous decisions. Like I think he will study harder this time. And for decision, it's very hot today. I'll open the window. Then after the discussion of Moodle verbs comes the book exercise on page 31. The question is, which of the three sentences containing a Moodle auxiliary verb has the same meaning as the original one? The first one is, they are able to speak English well. So the correct option is, they can speak English well. First option. The second one, there is a possibility of rain tomorrow. Correct option, it may rain tomorrow. Third, do I have to clean the kitchen? Correct option is the third one. Should I clean the kitchen? Fourth one, are you able to drive a tractor? The correct option is the first one. Can you drive a tractor? Last and fifth one is we are not allowed to swim when the red flag is flying. The correct option is the first one. We must not swim when the red flag is flying. Then next comes the regular and irregular verbs. An English verb can be regular or irregular. Regular verbs form their past and past participle forms by adding ed. Examples are given below. Walk, walked, walked. Dance, danced, danced. Paint, painted, painted. Work, worked, worked. Irregular verbs form their past and past participle forms in different ways. There are mainly three types of irregular verbs. First, verbs in which all the three forms are the same. For example, put, put, put. Second, verbs in which two of the three forms are the same. Example, sit, sat, sat. Third, verbs in which all three forms are different. Example, drink, drank, drunk. Then comes the book exercise regarding regular irregular verbs. The question is, find the regular verb in each line and write it in the space provided. The first one is read, feel, play, see. What we have to do, we have to find the regular verb. So the regular verb in the first one is play. Second, listen, do, go and make. The regular verb is listen. Third one, know, help, say, think. Help is the correct option. Fourth, like, write, forget, eat. The correct option is like. And last, take, bring, cut, clean. So the correct option is clean. Transitive, intransitive verbs. Transitive verbs are action verbs that have an object to receive that action. Examples, I bake some cookies, I ride the bicycle, I move the chair. The underlined words are verbs and you can see that they have direct objects which are receiving the action. Intransitive verbs are action verbs, but unlike transitive verbs, they do not have an object receiving the action. Example, I laugh, I cry, the book falls. Some verbs are completely intransitive, just like arrive and die. Some verbs are transitive, like buy, catch, and hold. And some verbs are sometimes transitive and intransitive, both. It depends on the use, how the verbs are used. Another important point is that transitive verbs can be changed into passive form because they have object, and intransitive verbs cannot be changed into passive form because they do not have an object. The object can be direct and indirect both. What is a direct object? A direct object receives the action directly from the verb, and indirect object receives the action through the direct object and not directly. Here are some example sentences using transitive verbs. We enjoyed the concert. I opened the door. She kicked the ball. He took me to a restaurant. I saw an accident. He copied my answer. You can see the transitive verbs and objects. Example sentences using intransitive verbs. We arrived around midday. She sneezed loudly. Your baby cries a lot. His grandfather died last year. The rain fell heavily. I was waiting but nothing happened. The jokes were not funny and nobody laughed. I walked to work every day. We sat on the bench. He stood in the corner. We waited but nobody came. The words highlighted are intransitive verbs and cannot be changed into passive form. Example sentences of verbs that are both transitive and intransitive. On one side, transitive sentences are written, and on other side, intransitive are written. I stopped the car stopped. I broke my coffee mug broke. The summer heat melted my ice cream melted. She speaks Arabic. She speaks very quickly. Mike is reading a book. Mike is reading. New Zealand won the match. New Zealand won. You can see that the same verbs are used in both the forms transitive and intransitives, so it depends on the use. This was today's lecture. Hopefully you have understood that well. So till the next lecture, stay home, stay safe, and Allah Hafiz.